Welcome to the Breaking and Entering Show. Today's advertising and marketing news. I'm Jack.
And I'm Gino.
Our top story is the social media algorithms are changing a little bit. There's some updates we need people to stay keen on. First up, allegedly, Twitter has updated its algorithm a little bit. We noticed that data was missing from the algo and it made your friends appear less in your replies. This resulted in the reply section feeling more like a battleground with people you don't recognize. So hopefully an effort to make X a little less toxic. Gino, your thoughts on this?
Listen, Jack, it's the algorithms world and we're just living in it. And, these changes are instrumental.
One of the things about X, I think people have kind of like vacated it. I feel like in like the advertising and marketing community, there's less of a presence.
Instagram, right? Switching over to Instagram, when it was, the algorithm was originally, and in general, was like the friends that you follow, you see their content.
Yep.
And it seemed to stray away from that. It's like just interest-based. I believe that's where Instagram is now. But so now X is going towards this mutual followers, kind of bringing it back to what the algorithm was originally. Is that correct?
I think that's kind of the plan. It seems like people are already kind of seeing that it's a little bit better. They're seeing more people that they're like friends with on their timeline as opposed to randoms. So, another thing, Gino, TikTok may have lost some of its juice. Rachel Carton, friend of the program, social media beast, kind of made a little bit of a prediction.
Are you plagiarizing her right now?
No, I'm not. I'm not densuing her. The Rachel Carton post here talking about how TikTok views versus Instagram views. Maybe TikTok has lost some juice. The Instagram views are much higher than the TikTok views. Same video posted across the platforms. Raises the question of like, why might that be? Is it even true? But there could be speculation around there's more AI content on TikTok potentially.
And what's going on with the TikTok shop, Jack?
TikTok shop here, you got AI videos are flooding it. Patrick Coffey, Wall Street Journal, also guest of the program, talked about this. The idea of these like AI bots and fake AI people are doing like makeup tutorials, dress twirls on TikTok shop.
I don't know about you, Jack, but whenever I get into the shop portion of TikTok or or like the Snapchat Explore page, I get out immediately. That is like, it's like crack. It's like, I would imagine how elderly people that are addicted to gambling and going to the casino and the stimulation psychologically draws them in, I feel is the same way right now with TikTok shop.
On the point of if TikTok has lost its juice, maybe not. Because this live stream with Madonna, 2.1 million viewers on a live stream for Madonna's album launch.
This is actually so surprising, I'm skeptical. Right. 2.1 people, did they go 2.1 million people? This smells to me, Jack, like bots.
I mean, that's speculation. Who knows? Who knows if that's the case?
We can't be the ones calling out fake views. I feel like we need to have trust in these platforms.
Gino, our next top story before we get into the 2-minute drill is all about this back market ad. Back market is like you can buy refurbished technology. This is kind of wild. They worked with Mother, and the whole ad is essentially the founder of Back Market swears on his mom's life on a warranty guarantee for Back Market.
Now, what's interesting, what I was thinking was the other CEO-centered ads that are out right now. The first one that comes to mind is like the Red Lobster. And this is way better than that.
Thought that one was interesting. Let's get into the 2-minute drill right now. It's the world-famous 2-minute drill.
Gehrig is our first one today. He made a personal investment in an affiliate marketing agency, Paul Street, marking the first time he's invested in an agency outside of the Vayner ecosystem. Affiliate marketing, Jack, might be the future, or at least Gary thinks so. What do we need to know?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The article kind of takes some interesting turns, not in a bad way, but like Gary, it seems like wanted to make it clear that he's bullish on affiliate marketing, but more so bullish on these two dudes and what they can do and pivot. But affiliate marketing, obviously one of those things that like I don't really totally understand, but plays a big role at bottom of funnel, in performance. Gap and Hailey Bieber. We saw it teased the other day. Gap, whenever Gap is doing anything these days, the marketing world is sat, as the kids say. And they come in here with a Hailey Bieber jean that is being released, and the campaign is out, and it's set to Linger by the Cranberries. You got me wrapped around my finger. And this was done by Bolded. So OBB Media, their brand and entertainment studio, bolded James Rowe, president there. Great work from them, and they get Hailey Bieber to be a part of it. What are your thoughts on Hailey Bieber being the new jeans person for the crew?
Great. I'm all for
Why?
it, Jack. Because she is an influence, right? She's like a beauty and wellness influencer, icon, celebrity. 10% increase in comparable sales during the first quarter. They're selling more, 10%
Yeah,
more.
gas winning. Who else is winning? Potentially, Subway takes Emmy nomination, and it's for the outstanding short form comedy, drama, or variety series.
I got the list here.
Yeah.
And all I'm going to say is Subway takes better fucking win.
Jake Shane is ripped.
Let's talk about this. Let's check this out.
Jake Shane is teaming up with Aloe. Jake Shane, the host of the Therapist podcast, and don't laugh. And he's here with Aloe. This all comes after his Men's Health magazine cover profile that went viral.
He's working with Aloe for a 4-part workout series called Shake and Train with Jake Shane. If you think about Jake Shane's following, and a good amount of that following will subscribe or pay for this program. So I think it's a nice play by Aloe to get people to this app, which I'm sure is fairly new, because I thought they were just workout sets and like their actual clothing.
Chase is getting England fired up. This is kind of a niche poll by me, but shout out to Genevieve Norris over at System 1, friend of the program. But this morning she took the London Bridge Underground, and Chase has a little bit of an integration here. Come on, England. They got the match tonight, the semifinals against Argentina. So Chase comes in. They're rooting for the home squad. Fun little thing. So you gotta give credit where credit's due to pull off something like this. Fun one from Chase.
It's nice and easy. You think about the customer journey. People are going to work. You want them to think about your brand. They're paying every time they're getting into the tube, I believe they call it over there. You meet the customer where they're at. They did a nice job. Nothing too crazy. Just like, come on, England.
Come on, England. Up next, big time guest is going to be joining the show in a second. It's Kim Gehrig, commercial director. She's an Emmy-winning commercial director, but this year she's got 2 Emmy nominations, one for I'm Not Remarkable for Apple, and then Levi's Backstory, which was the Super Bowl ad.
Best director in the game right now. I have a chat going on with some of my friends in advertising, and they're all so excited about this interview. We are so excited to have her on. Kim Gehrig, welcome to the show. So Kim, when the commercial's out in the world for the first time, or like, do you have any sort of prediction or understanding that this commercial will be Emmy nominated?
Oh, I'm not thinking about that at all. Usually I release some work and then hide under a desk for as long as possible until someone tells me it's not a disaster.
We rarely are able to chat with commercial directors, and it's so interesting. I just want to hear about when you approach a new project, like maybe let's talk about like I'm Not Remarkable, the work for Apple.
Yes.
Can you just walk us through what the commercial director, what you're doing, and how you think about each step?
Of course. So on Remarkable, or I'm Not Remarkable, I got a script in from Apple, and there was something, the heart of the idea was on that page when they sent it to me. So as a director, I look for great ideas. What I'm interested in, some commercials directors are very aesthetic. No, so I always look for what's the kind of heart of what's the idea, what's the heart of the piece. And I'd done a piece with Apple for accessibility before called The Greatest. So we already had a history on that one, and I was like, and this step on, which was kind of looking at disability and accessibility in quite a different way, quite brave way actually, saying I'm not remarkable, or I'm not different to you, felt really fresh. So I instantly gravitated to that idea. On Levi's, I guess the same. I got a script which said we just want to shoot bums, and I was like, that's cool.
Count me in.
Yeah, totally. So firstly, I look for the idea first, not the aesthetic. I always look for what's the core idea, what's the thought, and if I like that, then I kind of go from there.
Okay.
Then I chat. Yeah. Should I keep going?
Yeah, I want to keep going down this path. I want to hear about it. It starts with
I'll give you kind of my process.
Yeah, starting with the idea.
I talk to the team, the creative direction team, and I just go, see if we're aligned on our thinking. on both of those, we were aligned. So at that point, I kind of jump in and I write a treatment and I try and kind of put my vision forward. And then if they like it, make it. And on this one, both creative teams were totally aligned. And then a lot of the work happens in the making, particularly in I'm Not Remarkable. The casting was enormous. And the casting changed what we were making depending on who we found. And we also worked with another Australian, a guy called Tim Minchin, who wrote the Matilda musical. I don't know if you know him. He's a brilliant Australian songwriter. So we approached him to write the song. And so then I started collaborating with him.
That's awesome.
I've got some fan questions for you, if that's okay. People want to know, who's your favorite film director? How about commercial director?
I mean, Jonathan Glazer, for sure. I was really lucky enough to work at John's company in my early career, and he gave me the best advice I've ever been given. And so John is like God. So I think he's extraordinary.
Do we know what the best advice is? Can we hear the best advice ever given to you?
Of course. Of course. So when I remember I had my first music video treatment, and I had this kind of bad little deck, and I took it to John and I said, how do I make this? And he looked, and I was like, sort of strategizing in it. And I was like, and at the time I was like, what kind of director am I going to be? And here's my treatment. And like, should I be the female Spike Jonze? Or should I have a bit of darkness like Chris Cunningham? Or should I be clever like Gondry? And that was my going to Glazer, quoting other directors as well was bad form. But he was like, do not strategize the kind of director you're going to be. He said, make the work and the work will tell you who you are. That was piece of advice 1, which led into piece of advice 2, which was I had this treatment and I said, how do I do it? What do I do? And he said, don't make the work before you make the work. And what he was saying to me was go out and make the work. Like you've got to use it all there on the page, Kim. Don't make the work before you make the work. So those 2 pieces of advice are honestly transformed the way I did things, and I hold on every project to this day. Don't make the work before you make the work. So don't preconceive everything. Be alive on set, and be alive to what you find in the making, rather than really really kind of go out too in a box.
This is so fascinating. And you've worked with so many great ad agencies, and you've seen some amazing scripts, and you've even made them better. So what advice do you have to the ad agency folks when it's their time now to hand you a script? I guess leading up to that process, what advice can you give from your career to ad agency professionals?
Write a good idea. Write a good idea and don't do a big deck. Like back in the day, we used to write like a Word document, that said the idea without visuals or imagery that didn't really live up to it. So what I hate is getting a bad idea that's 150 pages long.
My last question for you is, where do you get visual inspiration from? Do you these legends like yourself? Do you go on Pinterest? Do you have boards? Where do you house all this stuff?
In the madness, go to galleries or films I watched when I was a kid. I watched musicals. Funny enough, I'm Not Remarkable. My grandmother used to babysit me every Saturday afternoon, and she did the ironing for the family. And while she did the ironing, we watched musicals every Saturday afternoon. So I weirdly, with Remarkable and some of the musical work, I draw on that. But no, I'm not I don't. Of course, one researches things they know online, but for me, it becomes quite a finite resource in a way, or a very familiar one. So it's not books, galleries, my brain, things I've seen. I try and experience as much as I can, do as much as I can.
Our next guest joining the show, it's a big one, Gino. A little bit of a New York expansion. We love this. Dhaval Bhatt is the founder, global CCO for Courage. Gino, Courage. Hot right now, 90% revenue growth in the last year, leading to them now expanding. They're Canadian-based, and now they're coming to New York City. Anything else you want to give the people about Courage before we bring in Dhaval?
They're part of the No Fix Address network, I believe, Jack. So I believe that's Mischief, and there might be somebody else in there too, another agency. We'll have to ask about that. But really, the big story is Canadian agency expanding to New York City. Let's bring them on. Dhaval, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Now let's do this here. So a few years ago, Courage didn't even exist. Today, you're opening a New York office. What's behind all the freaking growth over there in the Courage ecosystem?
Yeah, good question. We say like I can intellectualize it all, but it comes down to stay with me. It's a one-word thing. It comes down to bangers.
That's so good.
And I think you guys use that term too. I feel like I've heard you guys use that. But for those who don't, like unfamiliar, bangers is at Courage what we call. It's just work that we love. We look at it and go like, oh, that's a banger. And a banger is like, man, that's going to be so much fun to make. People are going to love it. Our clients are going to love it. And that's it. And I think that's what it comes down to. What we've found is like, you can focus on all the things like, oh, the head count, and we got to grow revenue, and we got to do all this thing. Honestly, as an independent agency, the only reason the clients come to us is when they see our work out there and they go, hey, we'd like some of that. That literally is the only reason to come to us. And we go, well, how do we get to that? Well, we just have to keep putting out bangers. And that's it. We have a thing called, it's a proprietary tool that we've created. No, it's not. It's a whiteboard. And we call the banger board. And it's literally set up in 4 quadrants. I'm looking at one right now where it's like, ideas sold and cracked, in production, produced work, and finished cases. And the idea is like you just keep putting stuff down here and keep moving it up the banger board. And that's it. That's the sauce. And the hope is that Montreal jumped in and they started adding to the banger board, and the hope is that it's the same with New York.
Well, let's hear about a banger that recently happened. You tell us about a banger that you guys are proud of.
Oh man, the most recent one I'd have to say, the Air Transat work was just so simple. It had all the sort of hallmarks of kind of like how we like to work. It was one of those ideas that came about, and from the time that the idea was presented to the client till it went live in the market across media was 3 days. You know what I mean? And
we covered this one,
we
right?
talked. It was a banger. I thought we probably called it a banger. Like it was.
Yeah, the out of home for World Cup.
Yeah. JR's pulling it up, but yeah, that's a banger. Yeah, I'm curious to hear the background on that one.
Yeah, it was a client that Air Transat. It's an airline in Canada. They're they're the second largest, only second to like Air Canada, which is the big national airline. And yeah, they came to us and we'd engaged with them on a few projects. And this literally started off as one of those ideas that a team just they shared this idea with us, and they were like, hey, I guess you all know the tension, like the ticket prices were insane. Mm-hmm. And they were like, hey, you could, instead of going watching this game, you can go see the country for like, a fraction of the cost.
There it is. We have it up right now.
We're looking at your website.
It says absolute banger, breaking and entering.
There's a business case for bangers too, Jack. 90% revenue growth since last year for this agency here, so they're doing pretty damn well.
That's obvious. That's the obvious pushback of like, if you're just like, oh, it's all bangers, and it's like, well, there's also the kind of the more boring stuff that matters a lot, especially the CMOs, like on the like performance, down the funnel, all those kind of the things that maybe aren't necessarily like we're going to cover, that aren't like bangers. So how do you pitch it though? Because like at the end of the day, marketers, brands, they're looking for increases in revenue. Like how do you sell in the banger methodology?
I mean, to me, it's not a banger if it's not serving the end goals of the clients, right? Like to me, it's we're not making fine art here. We're not making films for just the love of films. It is commercial art, and commercial, is the word that comes before art in a lot of ways, right? Not to get too intellectual about it, but I think that's the number one criteria. We have this thing where, like a great banger is one where you shouldn't have to convince the client to come on board. I say this a lot, right? Where I think sometimes agencies, even in the language that we use to talk about clients, it's like, oh, we just got to get this one past them. Oh, we just got to like get this one through. You talk of clients like they're goalies, and I kind of, imagine if reverse the roles, and if someone was trying to get one by you, you immediately have your back up. If you treat it like a goalie, you start protecting, right?
Right.
And we have this thing, you can't, clients aren't the goalies. I always say this, like, it's, first of all, it's their money. They're the custodians of the brand, and they're the final sign off. If anything, to continue down the sports analogy, they're the ones who put the ball or the puck in the back of the net. So they're the forward. And our job is to line it up, make it so easy for them to say yes and just like tap it in, right? And that's it. So if you have a killer idea, a banger, that doesn't serve what their end goal is, what their purpose is, whatever it is, whether it's like, it's just that's not gonna make it easy for them to say yes to.
One of the very fitting that the Canadian-based agency would use the hockey analogy there.
Of course. Let's talk about why New York, why right now?
End of the day, it really was about, it was about finding Steve, Mina, and Pauline, right? Like it's a talent business. It's all about people. And when you find the right people, in our experience, that's always been a good reason to go somewhere. Like, we actually looked at, multiple places, even in the States. We were very sort of open to, because the way we see the US is, it's a big place. Like, clients are really spread out. They're all over. Like, everyone's on planes all the time, right? We've got business hubs in Chicago and Atlanta, even down in Miami, right? And so we looked at all of these places, but end of the day, it came down to the talent, and and the best people were in New York. So that's why New York. We're like, hey, it's good enough for them. It's their home, and it's also just New York.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that.
Thank you all for joining. Good night.